walls like right there. That's where we walked on the outside. Uh-oh. Hopefully it's not somebody's raincoat. Oh, they might not need it today.
It's supposed to be sunny today, I think.
Hey, wave, you're on video. I bet there isn't a
There's
place.
another
I
one.
bet this is like Disneyland. You're not a place you're not on video.
That sun feels good.
Feels great.
Whoever goes down the stairs, just take a couple of steps inward so the rest could also follow. Okay, so from here we saw this, if you remember, from Mount of Olives. Right, Mount of Olives, we were looking out and we saw the Dormition. What it used to be in the Byzantine time, 1,500 years ago, this whole place would be called Hagia Sophia and Hagia Zion, sorry, Hagia Sophia is another place in Turkey. That this whole place would be one big church. And the place of the Last Supper, the place of Mary's dormant, it was all one place. Now it's split. It's split into different churches. I will say Mount Zion would be the place where they would come in for the Last Supper, and later on we'll say a couple more words what happened after the Last Supper. So that's what we see around us, and now we will just enter through the rooms of the Last Supper and say a couple of words about it. So we'll just gather here. I'll say a couple of words, and then you can look around for a second. The room is empty. It's not too much going on. It is not a church or a mosque or a synagogue. It's actually owned by the state of Israel. So they just keep it empty so anybody can come. That's it. Let me know if this is like the last time we're at. Okay, friends. So what could we see inside over here? So first of all, if you look up, you will see that there's arches that look a bit like rib, like a rib cage, rib arches. If you see arches in this shape, most of the time it means crusade. Crusading is 1,000 years after the time of Jesus. So yes, technically this floor here would not be the floor itself, but tradition would have it. It's tradition that goes back. The fact that this would be the area, so it's kind of like rebuilt. This would be the area, but it's an upper room, so they made it on the second floor. Please do not imagine, when you're thinking of the Last Supper, do not imagine the Da Vinci painting. Okay, they're not all posing for Instagram or whatnot to get their pictures taken. More likely, maybe like a Bedouin kind of sit down, like with maybe on the floor with kind of like roundish tables and cushions and kind of reclining chairs. Imagine something more like that. Maybe like sitting like four, each like 4 or 6 together. Okay, probably not a long table or probably. Okay, that's just what they would have back in the day. We have the rib cages. Over there, you will see what's called a mikvah. Do you see like a niche in the wall over there? what is a mihrab? It is a sign of where Mecca is, the direction of Mecca. What does that have to do with this? Mecca is the direction of prayer of the Muslims. This used to be over here, also a mosque. Why a mosque? Because Islam sees Jesus as one of its prophets. David, Dawood, Jesus, Isa. Okay, he's considered one of their prophets, and even a lot of Muslim traditions, he might be with the Messiah. With the end days, he will appear again. But they just don't believe that he is God. He has a specific role, and Jesus is even mentioned in the Quran. The name Jesus more than the name Muhammad. Okay, just because there's debate, right? Because you have to face the other big religions. So it is something that's talked about, and Mary is talked about. A lot of things. The New Testament is in the Quran. So if they have the story here, they made it a mosque, and it's dedicated first thing for Jesus. There will be some writings in Arabic that sometimes allude to the fact that also Jesus was here, but a lot of times they also kind of hint and say that there's only one God. Okay, that there's no Trinity. Muslims are very much against the Trinity. But it would be a sacred place also for Muslims. Nowadays, as I mentioned, it's open for everybody. One clue or hint that is remaining here on the last number is over here. This pole. If you look up top, can you see that there's two kind of like pelicans that are bent on the chest of another?
Yeah.
Can you see that? So what is going on here? This is pelicans. It seemed like in the olden days, it seemed to people when they're feeding their young ones, they're feeding him through his beak. And then the baby pelican puts his mouth all the way inside the mother's like throat or beak. So it seems like he's even eating her. Okay, it seems like he's feeding on her, connecting to the story of the bread and the wine. Okay, so that would be a hint that this would be the place. Again, I will not say specifically here, specifically there, but it does seem in the 100-yard radius. If we know it's on Mount Zion, this is Mount Zion. It has to be here close by. Thoughts, questions, comments about what we see?